The vast expanse of the Perseus Nebula stretched before the Galactic Alliance survey vessel, eternal seeker, like a cosmic tapestry of purples and blues. Captain Lyra Vathun, her crystalline skin refracting the starlight, stood at the bridge's observation deck, all four eyes fixed on the anomalous readings that had brought them to this remote sector. Sensor Chief Kuril, confirm these readings, she commanded, her translator converting her crystalline resonance into standard Alliance speech. What we're seeing shouldn't be possible. The insectoid sensor chief chittered excitedly, multiple appendages dancing across holographic interfaces. Confirmed, Captain. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database, but it's definitely artificial. And ancient. Very ancient. The Eternal Seeker had been mapping this sector for standard geological surveys when they detected the anomaly. A perfectly spherical void in the nebula's gas clouds, approximately 20 kilometers in diameter. Inside that void, something massive waited. Deploy the probe array, Lyra ordered. Maximum stealth protocols. If this is what I think it is. She left the thought unfinished. In her centuries of service to the Alliance, Lyra had encountered many wonders. But this felt different. The humans, those curious, seemingly primitive beings who had joined the Alliance barely 50 years ago, had always hinted at a greater past. Their scattered colonies, all established within the last century, told of a diaspora, but their original homeworld remained a mystery they refused to discuss. The probe array's data began flowing onto the main display, resolving into a shape that drew gasps from the bridge crew. A vessel, but unlike any in known space. 200 kilometers of sleek, midnight black hull material absorbed nearly all sensor readings. Its design defied the blocky, practical aesthetics of modern ships, instead featuring smooth, predatory lines that reminded Lyra of ancient ocean hunters from her homeworld. Classification impossible, Kuril reported, mandibles twitching. Hull composition unknown. Energy readings minimal, but, Captain, there's something odd. The void around the vessel, it's not natural. The ship is actively maintaining it. Maintaining it. After all this time, Science Officer Malloran's tendrils writhed in confusion. The amount of power required to. A new alert cut through the bridge's atmosphere of wonder. Captain. Kuril's chittering took on a higher pitch. The vessel. It's activating. Across the mysterious ship's hull, lines of soft blue light began to pulse in complex patterns. The void surrounding it expanded slightly, pushing back the nebula's gases with casual ease. All hands to stations. Lyra commanded. Defensive screens at maximum. Open Alliance first contact protocols on all frequencies. Before they could comply, their own communications array activated independently. A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect Alliance standard with an accent none of them had ever heard before. This is the Earth Federation Sentinel ship Vigilant Dawn. You have entered a restricted preservation zone. State your identity and intentions. The bridge crew froze. Earth Federation. The humans lost civilization. Lyra made a quick decision. This is Captain Lyra Vathun of the Galactic Alliance vessel Eternal Seeker. We are a peaceful survey mission. Are we addressing an artificial intelligence? A pause. Then, negative. I am Captain Sarah Chen, active commander of the Vigilant Dawn. Our sensors indicate significant temporal displacement. Request immediate situation update. Lyra's crystalline form sparkled with tension. Captain Chen, I believe we have much to discuss. The year is 7249 by Alliance Standard Calendar. The Earth Federation is no longer extant. Another pause, longer this time. When Captain Chen's voice returned, it carried both authority and caution. Understood. Captain Vathun, prepare to receive a small shuttle. I believe both our organizations would benefit from a direct conversation about what has transpired during our absence. As the transmission ended, Lyra turned to her crew. Notify Alliance Command immediately. And, she hesitated, contact the human consortium's representative. Tell them we found something that belongs to them." The shuttle that emerged from the Vigilant Dawn defied physics as the Alliance understood them. It moved without visible propulsion, slipping through space like a fish through water. As it approached their docking bay, Lyra recalled her first meeting with human representatives, how they had seemed so reserved, almost apologetic about their technological level. Now she wondered if that had been an act, if humanity's current state was not, as many assumed, their natural condition, but rather a carefully maintained facade. The thought sent shivers through her crystalline form. The airlock cycled, and Lyra waited with her senior staff to greet Captain Chen. The inner door opened to reveal a human female in a sleek black uniform bearing unfamiliar insignia. But it was her eyes that caught Lyra's attention. They held the weight of command, yes, but also something else. Purpose, as if she had been waiting through the centuries for exactly this moment. "Captain Vathun," Chen said with a small bow. "I believe it's time humanity's children learned about their inheritance, and why we've been watching from the shadows all this time." Behind her, the Vigilant Dawn loomed in the observation windows, its hull now gleaming with awakened power. Somewhere in the nebula's depths, Lyra knew, other ships were surely waiting. Humanity's guardians, about to change the galaxy forever. The Eternal Seekers conference room had never felt so charged with tension. Captain Chen sat at one end of the table, her black uniform a stark contrast to the iridescent walls. Through the viewport behind her, the imposing silhouette of the Vigilant Dawn served as a constant reminder of humanity's hidden power. 3,000 years ago, Chen began, her voice steady. Earth stood at the height of its achievements. We had mastered dark energy manipulation, quantum engineering, and consciousness transfer. But more importantly, we had discovered something that changed everything: the breach. Holograms sprang to life around the table, showing a massive tear in spacetime, its edges crackling with impossible energies. Lyra's crystalline form refracted the light in mesmerizing patterns as she leaned forward. "The breach was a gateway to something we still don't fully understand," Chen continued. "But we knew one thing: it wasn't natural. Someone, or something, had created it, and through it came the Harbingers." The hologram shifted, showing shadow-like entities that seemed to defy physical laws. They weren't hostile, not exactly, but their mere presence began to alter reality around them. Entire species began to change, evolve rapidly and unpredictably. Some achieved technological enlightenment overnight, others regressed into primordial states. The galaxy was chaos. Science Officer Malloran's tendrils coiled tightly. "The Great Divergence," he whispered. "Every species has myths about it, but no concrete evidence." "Because we erased it," Chen said simply. "Earth's council made a decision. We couldn't close the breach, not permanently, but we could become its guardians. We created the Sentinel Fleet, ships like the Vigilant Dawn, designed to monitor and contain the breach's influence. And we redistributed species across the galaxy, giving them fresh starts, free from the chaos." "Including humans?" Lyra asked, her crystalline resonance sharp with sudden understanding. Chen nodded. "We couldn't exempt ourselves. The majority of humanity was relocated, their technology levels reset, memories altered. Only the Sentinel Fleet remained, hidden in temporal stasis, watching and protecting." The conference room's atmosphere grew heavier as the implications sank in. The humans weren't primitive newcomers to the galactic stage. They were its ancient guardians, sacrificing their own advancement to protect everyone else. "But now you're awakening," Corell chittered. "Why?" Chen's expression darkened. "Because the breach is becoming active again. Our sensors detected the first fluctuations 3 standard months ago. The Harbingers are stirring." She stood, her presence somehow filling the room despite her relatively small stature. "We need to wake the other Sentinel ships." And she hesitated. "We need to begin restoring humanity's true capabilities. The galaxy will need us at full strength for what's coming." A new alert blared through the ship's systems. On the main display, spatial distortions began appearing throughout the nebula. The vigilant Dawn's hull pulsed with increasingly bright patterns of energy. "It's starting sooner than we anticipated," Chen said grimly. "Captain Va-Thun, your ship should withdraw to safe distance. The vigilant Dawn will handle this incursion." "Handle it?" Lyra asked. "One ship against." But Chen was already moving. "You're about to see why the Earth Federation became the galaxy's guardians in the first place, and why even the Harbingers learned to fear us." As if in response to her words, the vigilant Dawn began to transform. Its sleek hull plates shifted and realigned, revealing weapon systems that made the Alliance's most powerful dreadnoughts look like toys. Space itself seemed to bend around the vessel as it powered up its true capabilities. In the nebula's depths, reality began to tear, but humanity's ancient guardians were ready. The war that had shaped the galaxy was about to begin again. And this time, there would be no hiding in the shadows. Through the viewport, Captain Chen watched her ship prepare for battle, her expression a mixture of determination and ancient sorrow. "We gave up everything to protect this galaxy," she said quietly. "It's time to remind everyone why." The vigilant Dawn moved like no ship Lyra had ever seen. As reality fractured around them, the ancient human vessel flowed through space, its midnight black hull now alive with cascading energy patterns. The Harbingers emerged from the tears in spacetime, writhing shadows that seemed to drink in light itself. "Multiple breaches detected," Carell reported, his chitinous hands flying over the sensor controls. "The void is..." "Captain, I'm reading temporal distortions across the entire sector." From the Eternal Seeker's bridge, they watched as the vigilant Dawn engaged its first target. No conventional weapons were fired. Instead, the ship projected what appeared to be a geometric pattern of pure energy, a mandala of light that caught the shadow being in its web. The Harbinger writhed, its form collapsing in on itself until it vanished entirely. "That's impossible," Malloran whispered, his tendrils weaving complex patterns of disbelief. "They're not destroying them. They're rewriting their quantum signatures, forcing them back through their own breaches." Captain Chen's voice came through their comm system, calm despite the chaos unfolding around them. "The Harbingers aren't evil, just incompatible with our reality. We learned long ago that destruction wasn't the answer. Containment and reversal were the only viable solutions." A particularly large breach bloomed in space, this one disgorging dozens of shadow forms. The vigilant Dawn held its position, but even its advanced technology seemed strained against such numbers. Then Chen's voice rang out again, this time carrying a note of satisfaction. "Sentinel ships, Protocol Lazarus is now active. Rise and remember." Throughout the nebula, space began to shimmer. One by one, massive vessels materialized, each unique in design but sharing the same midnight black hull material as the vigilant Dawn. 5, 10, 15 ships, each larger and more impressive than the last. "The Sentinel fleet," Chen explained as her ship coordinated with its awakened siblings. "Each vessel specialized for different aspects of our mission. The Quantum Forge for reality stabilization, the Memories Keep for species preservation, the Dawn Treader for temporal manipulation." The fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their combined energy patterns creating vast, complex geometric shapes in space. The Harbingers found themselves caught in an ever-tightening net of altered reality. But it was what happened next that truly demonstrated humanity's hidden power. The vigilant Dawn transmitted a series of coordinates to the Alliance vessel. "Captain Va-Thun, please observe these locations carefully. You're about to witness the awakening of humanity." Across Alliance space, in seemingly empty regions between stars, more Sentinel ships were awakening, and with them, hidden human colonies began dropping their technological camouflage. Advanced cities phased into existence on supposedly primitive worlds. Orbital installations appeared around planets that had appeared uninhabited. "We hid our true capabilities in plain sight," Chen explained. "Those humans you knew as refugees and colonists. Many were our watchers, living among the younger races, ensuring the breach remained contained. Now they can finally resume their true purpose. The Alliance comm channels erupted with reports of appearing vessels and installations. The galaxy's power structure was shifting by the second as humanity's hidden strength revealed itself. But not everyone was celebrating. Through the chaos of battle, Lyra noticed something troubling in the sensor data. Captain Chen, the quantum signatures of these breaches. They're different from your historical records, aren't they? A pause. Yes, Chen admitted. Something has changed. The Harbingers aren't just returning. They're being driven back into our reality. Something is pushing them through. As if to emphasize her words, a new breach began to form, larger than any before. The fabric of space-time didn't just tear, it shattered, revealing something that made even the Sentinel fleet pause in their coordinated dance of containment. By the eternal void, Chen whispered, genuine fear in her voice for the first time. That's not possible. That's a Titan-class Harbinger. We've never encountered one outside the theoretical models. The shadow that emerged was vast beyond comprehension, its form shifting between dimensions in ways that hurt to observe. The combined might of the Sentinel fleet suddenly seemed small in comparison. All ships, defensive formation Delta, Chen commanded. Captain Vathun, you need to get this data to Alliance Command. The game has changed. We're no longer just containing an incursion. Something is waging war on reality itself, and we're the only thing standing in its way. The Galactic Alliance Emergency Council Chamber had never hosted such an unusual assembly. Representatives from 100 species sat in stunned silence as they watched the tactical displays showing the battle in the Perseus Nebula. The Titan-class Harbinger moved like a living void, each motion sending ripples through reality itself. Captain Chen stood before them, her black uniform now bearing visible battle damage. Behind her, a hologram showed the Sentinel fleet engaged in an intricate dance of containment, their geometric patterns barely holding the cosmic horror at bay. For 3,000 years, we've maintained the barriers between realities, Chen explained, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. But now something has changed. The Harbingers aren't simply passing through natural breaches anymore. They're being weaponized. The tactical display shifted, showing complex quantum readings. These energy signatures suggest deliberate manipulation. Something is using the breach as a delivery system, turning the Harbingers into an invasion force. High Counselor Vextera, her crystalline form darkened with concern, leaned forward. You speak of impossible things, Captain. Who could possess such power? We call them the Architects, a new voice answered. All eyes turned to the chamber's entrance where a figure stepped through. Another human, this one wearing a white uniform marked with complex circuitry patterns. I am Director Marcus Santos of the Memories Keep. We've spent millennia preserving the knowledge of every species affected by the breach, including records of those who created it. Santos approached the central platform, his movements carrying the weight of ancient knowledge. The Architects were here before any of us. They built the breach as an experiment, testing the boundaries between realities. When it proved too dangerous, they sealed it and disappeared. We thought they'd never return. The chamber erupted in overlapping questions, but a sudden alert cut through the chaos. On the main display, the Titan-class Harbinger had begun to change, its form crystallizing into something more solid, more purposeful. It's happening, Chen said grimly. The Architects are using the Harbinger as a physical anchor. They're trying to force their way back into our reality. The tactical feeds showed the Sentinel fleet's energy patterns beginning to fail against the transformed entity. Even humanity's advanced technology had limits, and they were rapidly approaching them. We need your help, Santos stated simply, addressing the Council. Humanity chose to become the galaxy's guardians, but we never intended to stand alone. Each of your species has unique capabilities, technologies we deliberately left untouched when we restructured galactic civilization. Together, they might be exactly what we need. High Counselor Vextera's crystalline form pulsed with decision. Explain. The crystalline harmonics of your species, Santos gestured to her, combined with the quantum entanglement drives of the Corel, the psychic matrices of the Malloran. If we integrate these technologies with our containment systems, we might be able to create something new. Something even the architects haven't encountered before. The chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. For millennia, humanity had hidden its power, becoming secret guardians of reality itself. Now they were asking for trust, for cooperation on a scale the galaxy had never seen. In the Perseus Nebula, the transformed Harbinger began to pulse with impossible energies. Through the quantum static, structures could be glimpsed, vast geometrical cities and machines that defied comprehension. The architects were coming. "We don't have much time," Chen warned, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "The Sentinel fleet can hold them back, but not indefinitely. We need your answer." High Counselor Vexterra rose, her crystalline form blazing with reflected light. 3,000 years ago, humanity sacrificed its place among the stars to protect us all. Today, we return that sacrifice. The Alliance stands with Earth's guardians. One by one, the representatives voiced their agreement. Species that had evolved separately for millennia now pledged their unique strengths to a common cause. In the council chamber, plans were already being drawn up, technologies merged in ways never before attempted. And in the nebula, the Sentinel fleet continued their desperate battle, holding the line until reinforcements could arrive. Humanity had kept its vigil alone for 3,000 years. Now finally, they would face the coming storm with allies at their side. The Perseus Nebula had become a battlefield unlike any in galactic history. The Sentinel fleet's midnight black hulls now pulsed with new energies, crystalline harmonics from the Vathan, quantum matrices from the Corel, and dozens of other technological contributions from across the Alliance. Each ship had been transformed into a hybrid of ancient human engineering and modern galactic science. Captain Chen stood on the Vigilant Dawn's newly modified bridge, where holographic interfaces merged seamlessly with crystalline control surfaces. "All ships, report integration status. Quantum forge ready," came the first response. "Crystalline resonance matrices at full power. Memories keep standing by. Psychic barriers operational." One by one, the Sentinel ships confirmed their readiness. The transformed Harbinger loomed before them, its crystallized form now a massive geometric structure that served as a gateway for the architect's return. "They're coming through," Director Santos reported from the Memories Keep. His ship's sensors, enhanced by Malloran technology, penetrated the quantum distortions surrounding the gate. Multiple signatures. They're exactly as our ancient records described. The first architect emerged, a being of pure geometric perfection, its form shifting between dimensions in ways that even the advanced sensors struggle to track. More followed, each one a living equation, a fragment of universal law-given consciousness. "To think," Santos whispered, "they created the breach just to see if they could. Use the Harbingers as their test subjects. And now they want to reclaim this reality as their laboratory." "Not while we stand guard," Chen responded. She opened a channel to all ships, including the Alliance vessels holding position at safe distance. "All units, execute Protocol Unity." The Sentinel fleet moved as one, their hybrid systems synchronizing in ways their original designers could never have imagined. Crystalline resonance merged with quantum fields, psychic matrices interwove with temporal barriers. The space between the fleet began to glow with new possibilities. The architects noticed. Their geometric forms shifted, turning attention to the defenders. A communication attempt rippled through space, not in words, but in pure mathematical concepts. Fascinating. The test subjects have evolved, learned to combine their limited understandings. "We are not your experiments," Chen broadcast back. "This reality is under protection. Return to your domain." Protection. You cannot protect what you do not comprehend. Your species, all your species, are fragments of a greater design. We return to continue our work. The architects began to move forward, reality warping around them. But the Sentinel fleet held firm. Centuries of guardianship had prepared humanity for this moment, and now they had the combined strength of the galaxy behind them. "You're wrong," Chen responded. "We don't need to comprehend everything to protect it. That's what you never understood. Life isn't an equation to be solved. It's something to be preserved in all its beautiful imperfection." The fleet's hybrid systems reached full power. Where the architects brought cold mathematical perfection, the defenders answered with organized chaos. The crystalline harmonics of the Vathun creating discord in their perfect geometries, Corel quantum fields disrupting their dimensional transitions, Malran psychic energies introducing uncertainty into their calculations. The architects reeled, their forms fluctuating. For the first time in their eternal existence, they faced something they couldn't quantify: the combined determination of multiple species fighting for their right to exist freely. "Now," Chen ordered. The Sentinel fleet's formation shifted, creating a new pattern that mirrored the architect's gateway. But where their portal sought to invade, this one began to pull. The hybrid technologies created something even the architects hadn't predicted: a controlled cosmic rejection. One by one, the geometric beings were drawn back through their own portal. The crystallized harbinger began to fracture, its structure collapsing as the force that transformed it was withdrawn. Throughout the nebula, the smaller breaches sealed themselves, reality asserting its own rules once again. In the aftermath, the Vigilant Dawn drifted among its sister ships, their hybrid modifications now a permanent testament to what cooperation could achieve. The Alliance fleet approached, led by Lyra's Eternal Seeker. "It's over," Chen transmitted. "The architects are banished. The breach is sealed, this time with the combined power of all our peoples." "What happens now?" Lyra asked. "Will humanity return to hiding?" Chen smiled, looking around at her modified bridge, at the beautiful integration of multiple species technologies. "No, we've learned something too. Being guardians doesn't mean standing apart. From now on, we stand together." The Sentinel fleet began to move, escorting the Alliance ships home. Behind them, the Perseus Nebula shimmered with new colors, the quantum residue of multiple species technologies working in harmony. The age of secret guardians was over. The age of shared protection had begun.